The Atlanta Falcons, with a 6-5 record, are facing the Los Angeles Chargers at 7-4 after a bye week. What stands out to you about the Falcons' current situation as they head into this matchup?
The Falcons need to break their two-game losing streak, but their recent losses against the Saints and Broncos raise concerns.
Could you elaborate on why those particular losses are worrisome?
Well, losing to the Saints, who had only 2 wins at that time and had just fired their coach, was unexpected. The subsequent blowout loss to the Broncos, a team with a rookie quarterback, further amplified concerns about the Falcons' ability to compete.
Given those recent struggles, how significant is this upcoming game against the Chargers for both teams' playoff aspirations?
This game holds substantial weight for both teams' playoff hopes. A win for either team would significantly boost their postseason chances in a tight race.
The Falcons have been dealing with a number of injuries. How might those injuries impact their performance against the Chargers?
The injuries are a valid concern. The Falcons' performance has been inconsistent, and the absence of key players could exacerbate their existing challenges.
Despite the injuries, the Falcons still have Bijan Robinson on their roster. What role do you see him playing in this game, especially considering his performance leading up to the Denver game?
Robinson is a crucial asset for the Falcons. He had been performing well until the Denver game, and his ability to generate offensive momentum will be critical against the Chargers' strong defense.
The Chargers are coming off a loss themselves, breaking their 6-game win streak against the Ravens in a high-scoring affair. How do you anticipate the Chargers adapting their strategy after that loss, especially considering their defensive strengths?
The Chargers will likely aim to leverage their defensive prowess, particularly their ability to force turnovers. They will likely focus on pressuring Kirk Cousins, who has been prone to interceptions.
How significant a factor do you see Cousins' performance being in this game? Could he be the key to a Falcons victory?
Cousins' performance will undoubtedly play a pivotal role. While he has the potential to lead the Falcons to victory, his tendency for turnovers could easily swing the game in the Chargers' favor.
Considering the Chargers' strength in forcing turnovers and the Falcons' struggles with them, are we leaning towards a Chargers win?
While the Chargers have a clear advantage in that area, the Falcons could potentially offset this if their defense manages to effectively pressure Justin Herbert.
That brings us to the Falcons' pass rush, which has statistically been the worst in the league this season. How realistic is it to expect them to generate enough pressure to disrupt Herbert?
The Falcons' pass rush is undoubtedly a weakness. However, the Chargers haven't been particularly strong at preventing sacks, leaving a small window of opportunity for the Falcons.
So it appears the Falcons face an uphill battle.
It will be a challenge for the Falcons.
If the Falcons are to have any chance of success, they need to capitalize on their strengths. What are those strengths, and how might they be utilized against the Chargers?
The Falcons' strength lies in their skill position players.
Could you expand on that, particularly regarding their offensive strategy against a formidable Chargers defense?
They have a dynamic running back in Bijan Robinson and a talented group of receivers. Their offensive line, however, has been inconsistent, impacting their ability to protect Cousins.
Given those inconsistencies, what adjustments might the Falcons consider to effectively move the ball against the Chargers?
They will need to find ways to protect Cousins and establish a running game.
Shifting our focus to the Chargers, their offense has been impressive this season. What are their key strengths, and how might they pose challenges for the Falcons' defense?
They have a dynamic quarterback in Justin Herbert and a talented group of receivers. Their offense is balanced and can attack defenses in multiple ways.
Considering the Falcons' defensive struggles, what specific strategies might they employ to contain a potent offense like the Chargers?
They will need to find a way to generate pressure on Herbert and limit big plays.
Given their limited success with the pass rush, how realistic is it for the Falcons to expect to disrupt Herbert's rhythm?
It will be a significant challenge. They will need to play fundamentally sound football and create turnovers to have any chance of slowing them down.
Turning our attention back to the Falcons' defense, their inability to generate a consistent pass rush has been a glaring weakness. What factors contribute to this deficiency, and how might it impact their matchup against a mobile quarterback like Herbert?
A combination of personnel and scheme has contributed to their lack of a pass rush. They haven't invested heavily in edge rushers, and their defensive scheme hasn't always put them in a position to succeed.
Given those factors, Is there a realistic path for the Falcons to improve their pass rush against Herbert specifically?
It is a major concern because Hobart can extend plays, making him even more difficult to sack.
What adjustments, if any, could the Falcons implement to generate more pressure on Herbert?
They will need to blitz creatively and hope for some coverage sacks. It's unlikely they'll be able to generate consistent pressure with their front four alone.
The Chargers' offensive line has played a crucial role in protecting Herbert. How does the Falcons' defensive front match up against this formidable offensive line?
The Chargers' offensive line is talented and experienced, while the Falcons' defensive front is lacking in star power. It's a mismatch on paper.
Knowing that mismatch, what strategic adjustments, if any, could the Falcons employ to try to win the battle in the trenches?
They will need to play with great technique and effort. They'll also need help from their blitz packages.
The Chargers' run game, featuring Austin Ekeler, has been a complementary aspect of their offense. How do you anticipate this matchup unfolding against the Falcons' run defense?
The Falcons have been vulnerable against the run this season, so the Chargers may look to establish the run early and often.
Given the Falcons' susceptibility to the run, do you anticipate Ekeler having a significant impact on the game?
He is certainly capable of it. Ekeler could have a lot of opportunities because the Falcons haven't been consistent in stopping the run.
Let's consider the coaching matchup for a moment. Raheem Morris is in his first full season as the Falcons head coach, while Brendan Staley is in his third season leading the Chargers. How do you see this coaching matchup influencing the game?
It will be interesting to see how Morris's defensive scheme matches up against Staley's offensive firepower.
Beyond the strategic matchup, do you perceive coaching as a major determining factor in this game?
Coaching is always important, but the talent disparity between these two teams is the bigger story.
This game will be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah.
To what extent, if any, do you believe home field advantage will play a role in the outcome?
It could be a factor, but the Chargers have shown they can win on the road.
What level of crowd support do you think the Falcons would need to potentially impact the Chargers?
The Falcons will need a strong performance from their fans to create a hostile environment.
In what specific game situations might the crowd noise become a notable factor?
Crowd noise could be a factor, especially on third downs.
We've discussed key players like Cousins, Herbert, Robinson, and Ekeler. Looking beyond those names, are there any other players on either side who could potentially have a significant impact on the outcome of this game?
On the Falcons side, keep an eye on wide receiver Drake London. He is a talented young player who could make some plays against the Chargers secondary.
Are there any under-the-radar players on the Chargers side who could potentially surprise the Falcons?
Safety Derwin James is a game-changer for their defense. He's a versatile player who can cover tight ends blitz and make plays in the run game.
Both teams entered this season with high expectations. The Falcons are aiming for their first playoff appearance since 2017, while the Chargers are considered Super Bowl contenders. What are your overall thoughts on the significance of this game for both franchises?
This game is a crucial test for both teams.
Given the stakes, how do you anticipate each team approaching this matchup in terms of intensity and urgency?
It will be interesting to see how they respond to the challenge. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have. Let's take a moment to summarize the key takeaways from our analysis before offering our final predictions.
We have.
As we head into this matchup, the Falcons are striving to snap their two-game losing streak against a strong Chargers team that is looking to rebound from a loss. Injuries plagued the Falcons while the Chargers are relatively healthy. Turnovers are likely to be a pivotal factor given the Chargers' proficiency in generating them and the Falcons' struggles with ball security. The Falcons' defense faces the daunting task of containing Justin Herbert, while their offense must find a way to establish a rhythm against a formidable Chargers defense. Bijan Robinson's performance will be crucial for the Falcons as they seek to establish a consistent running game. Both teams have significant playoff aspirations riding on this game, making the stakes incredibly high. Overall, we've identified a multitude of factors that could influence the outcome of this matchup. Now for the ultimate question. What are your final predictions for this game?
I believe the Chargers will win.
Could you elaborate on what leads you to that prediction?
I think the Chargers' offense is too explosive for the Falcons to handle.
Do you believe the Falcons have any realistic chance of upsetting the Chargers?
It's possible, but they would need to play a near-perfect game.
What specific factors would need to align for the Falcons to pull off such an upset?
They would need to run the ball effectively and limit their turnovers.
Thank you for sharing your insights and predictions. This deep dive has provided a comprehensive look at the Falcons versus Chargers matchup. We've explored the strengths and weaknesses of both teams, delved into key player matchups, and analyzed the strategic considerations that could determine the outcome of this pivotal game. For our listener, we hope this analysis has equipped you with a deeper understanding of this week's game and heightened your anticipation for what promises to be a captivating contest.
I agree.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.